Hello, I'm excited to talk to you today and go over using list filters. These are really powerful things to be able to do in Knackly, and I'm excited to be able to talk to you. So first off, if someone could just either put in a question or a poll of some sort and just say that you can hear me and see my screen, that would be either in the questions or chat, that would be great. So I want to make sure that you're seeing things and can hear me. I can hear. Okay, perfect. And I assume you can see me, so that's great. Just pull this off. Okay, so today we're going to go through and talk about using list filters. So we've got a few different ones that I wanted to cover. We'll just create it. I'm going to create a new template here. Call it list filters. And I'll do it as a new app and create a new template. So the ones I'm going to cover today are length. I'll define these. Punctuation. Let's see if I can spell today. Punctuation. Index, filter, and find. And I'm going to do any as well. So let's just kind of talk through these. Common, so length, you'll use length if you are trying to find out how many people are in a list. So let's say you have children, and we'll start there as children is a great example. We want to know, we're going to use the length to say, are there more than one child? And there's other things that you can potentially do about it, but let's start there. So if we think about length, we think about, you might have a sentence, I have 4 children, and then we would listen Johnny, Mary, and Harry. So you might have something like this. But you might also end up with a sentence that is going to, I have 1 child, Johnny. So how would we handle this situation? And the length is how we're going to do it. So first off, I'm going to go to children. I'm going to create insert a list into the document, and I'm going to do it with punctuation, which we'll get into punctuation. We'll probably cover both of these at the same time. So first off, this is going to give me a list, and this is how I'm going to end up with the Johnny and Mary and Harry. I'm going to add to this, I have, and I want to say 4 children. So what I'm going to do is children dot length and a comma there. And what this is going to do is it's going to return a number. So if I have 3 children, it's going to return 3. Certainly, if you wanted to spell out 3, you do have that, because this is a text variable. You can go through and do cardinal, and so that would spell it out. So I have 3 children. Now let's think about this sentence, and let's do a second one. What happens if I have just 1 child? Certainly this is great if I have more than 1 children. This sentence works good, but in this case I want to say I have 1 child. So I have, and I'm going to do children length. Actually, I can, because we're doing it here. So let me take a step back. We forgot about the children. So children and child. So if I have multiple, I want to put in children. If I have just one, I want to do one child. So children, and then I can do a condition on here. So I can do a greater than 1. So now I can use this and I will have a if children length is greater than 1, I'm going to put in children, else I'm going to put in child. And put my end if. So now I've created a sentence, and since I just typed these, I freehanded it. I can go up to the little gear and say update all, and I can bring in that information. So I have one child. It's the length, and if the length is greater than 1, I'm going to put children. Otherwise, I'm going to put child. So that kind of covers my length and how I can go through and do that. Now, punctuation. So let's take the same list of children. Let's talk through what we can do with punctuation. So again, as soon as I see that there's a list, I can insert it with or without or with bullets. We just kind of have some different options there. So with punctuation. So let's say, in most cases, 1, 2, and 3 is great, and that makes sense. But you can go through and edit this. So if I just wanted it to always be commas, I could just put 1 and 2, and then it's just going to add commas. The and we know is going to change that. So let's get and 3. If you have a situation where instead of commas, you want semicolons, you can do that as well. So you can go through and make use of this in different ways. And you can always, to see some more, you've always got your help and our knowledge base, where I can do a search on punctuation, and you can see some different examples of things that can be done here, so that you can actually see it. So that helps for that. You'll see here we've now got index. So great example. What does this do? I'm just going to copy it. And if I were to put indexed in like this, I could say it would basically tell me which number of person I'm on. So in this case, it would put Johnny in, and he would be the first one in the list. So it would bring back an index of 1. If it's Mary, it's a 2 Mary. So we can make use of index. This isn't a great example of where you'd want to use it, but it can be done. Other things, so let's just dive into indexes. And I do go back. I do search on this regularly because I don't always know what it is, but this is a great example. So children. So what does this mean? So children, and this is an index again. And please, if you do have questions, feel free to post them on here. I am trying to watch them. And so if this isn't making sense or something, please do it. Dot full name. So what did I just do? So children 0, and this is slightly different when we go to index. Children 0, if I put in children, and I had it with the square brackets and a 0 in here, that would actually give me the first child. So I could put child 1, child 2. If it really comes in handy if I have language for the first child that's different. This might also play into executors. I have situations where the first one's one thing and everything else is going to be different, then you can go through and use it. And an example of that is, let's just take my children again. Let's make sure I think about this right. Well, index I would do, let me think about it. No, that's not going to work. But this does give you, if you do want to have a specific one, then you can use the 0. So that will help you as you're thinking about different ways that you could use it. My other thought was I was thinking index. See, if I wanted the first one to say something a little bit different, so I could do index equals 0. And what this would do is so I could do it if index equals 0, and then my first child, then I could put that in, and I could put it end if there. So if I wanted, when it goes through the list, if it's index 0, it's going to put in first child, and then it could go through, and on every other one, it's going to skip over it because it's no longer index 0. So that's a way to go through and use some index pieces. Okay. Now, next one, filters. How do filters work? So what is a filter? I'm going to keep on this children example because it gives me so many options here. Let's just talk through what this might look like. So let's say I want to only show the children that are under 18. So that's pretty common. Is I want to say I just family law situation. You want to know who are you've asked for birth date, and you now want to know just give me a list of the children that are under 18. So I can use filter for that. So I'm going to put pipe filter colon, and since I'm within children, I'm just going to double check and make sure I have this here. If I don't, I'm going to create it. I have an age. So age, if I go back online, I go to the Knackly designer, another party, I go to formulas. I have what's called age. So basically it's date.age based on the birthday. So based on what I put in a birth date. You also see I have a minor. So I've done basically the same thing. And I say less than 18. So I've got 2 ways that I could do this. I'll show you both of them. So filter age less than 18. So this will then basically, of all the children that I enter, it's just going to give me those children that are less than 18. Let's save this, and let's just make sure if I've got any syntax errors. Simon expression and fields 13. What's field 13? Nice thing is, I go here. Oh, I didn't like my index. I think it actually might be that. No, it doesn't like my index. All right. Oh no, no. I'll put in the notes associated with this what it's really supposed to be there. But I apparently got my syntax wrong. So it does help when I spell things right on our help page, children. but you're getting the raw deal on the fly training here. Okay, so I got list, filter, age. I could do the same thing. Filter minor, because minor is true false. If minor is true, because I go back here, I can see that's a true false expression formula. I can put that in. I'm just going to say save. And now I can go through and do that. Okay, so now let's think through. So that gives you some examples of filter. There's certainly other things, but think of filter as a way to narrow down a list of list, whether it's an object list or a selection list. It's a way to narrow things down. So that's how filters work. Find. What's the difference between find? Find means that we're going to return just one. And it's going to, so let's just say you have we'll keep on children, even though this may or may not be the best example, but say you want to find a child that, I don't know, is disabled or I'll just say minor. Let's say we think they're only one minor. What it's going to do is it's going to find the first item in the list and return the first person. Trying to think of it. So if you know, we use this a lot. I use it a lot in formulas when I want to go through and list one person. So I want to do the first person, but let's just show you the syntax here so you can see it. So I'll do again, I'm going to do children, do a list. I'm going to do it without punctuation. Filter, no, sorry, find. I'm just going to say minor. It's not a great example, but what this will do is it will find the first person. So if you have a list coming back up to Johnny, Mary, and Harry, if Mary and Harry in this example were minors, it would just pick Mary. So it will pick the first one that comes across. This becomes useful in situations where there should only ever be one, but the user may enter something different. But mostly it's used if there really should only be one selection, one person in the list that it applies to. We would use find, and because we just want to find that first person. So I'm hoping that that makes sense. The next one, any. So this would be, so we could use children for this. So let's do, and any is basically going to return a true or false. Well, let's just save, make sure that my syntax is right and I don't mess up something. Let's try. Yeah, it does not like. You get sometimes the raw. Okay, I'm going to have to give a better example for find. Let's just go find. Because it's looking for a single value and I'm doing a list. Okay, so this is a better example. Okay, we're going to use this example. Children was a terrible example to begin with. All right. So let's add a new variable in children. We're going to do a selection, and I'm going to add it to party because children is a party. And I'm just going to do and select from. I want the table below, so yes, no. Does not like me having that error message, so find children. It did not like because I couldn't save, so let me just remove that. Say save. Okay. And I probably have to recreate it. Let's see. Yep, I had to recreate it because I didn't like it. Wasn't able to save. That was the problem. So party. Okay. So we're gonna find and I am going to put, so by putting those around, it gives an order of operations, make sure that it knows as looking for this as an expression to save and hope that I'm right here. And it doesn't like it. All right, I'm gonna have to do a show recap on how to do find. I will figure it out after. Okay, so next thing, I'm gonna get rid of this. Probably be something simple that I missed, but we'll save it. I will have it in the show notes, the notes below on how to do a find for this example. All right, so now what I can say is any. So basically what this is doing is it's going to return a true false. So if this condition is met with any of this, with anybody in this list, then it's going to return true. So a good example is if children and any minor. So then I could potentially have a paragraph here. I have, I could take this and say, this would be a great example. I have these minor comma, and then we can go through and put that in and put my end if there. So with this, if children, any of them are minor, then I'm going to, this expression is going to be true. I'm going to put this information in. I could just as easily do it else I have no minor children. So you can also do that. So you've got that information. Click save. and everything worked. So that is length, punctuation, indexes, filter, kind of find. I will put the syntax in for find. You at least understand what it is used for, and any. So that's kind of the end of this portion of the training where we're getting into the list functions. Now, if you do have questions, please, if it's about this content or other things, please put them in your questions tab, and I'll go through and answer those if there are any.